Hey guys, welcome back. I have the car backed up to the door here. I want to work on cutting the rust out. We're going to weld in some new metal, do the body work, and then at that point I'm going to primer 2K primer this area and the two spots on the door and the spot on the door jamb. So we're going to have to cover the car up with some plastic and do a little spot primering. I'm just going to do it outside. Then I'm going to pull the car out in the sun for the rest of the day, let it sit until tomorrow afternoon, and then at that point we can get it ready to, we can take off the passenger door, get that door jamb painted, get the back of the door painted, and then once that sets up we can get that put back on the vehicle. And then the following day we can paint the doors and the quarter panel over here, and then at that point it's just maybe a light scuff and buff and send it on its way. There shouldn't be too much to put together either. Once I hang the door back on after we do the jambs, I will put the interior door back together before the outside's painted, just because I'll have the time to do it before it's painted, because the paint's going to cure overnight, so it should work out good. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to take my grinder here, grind some of the metal, some of the paint off the metal to see where the metal's clear, or clean rather, not clear. And after that we'll cut out some squares, rectangles, whatever they end up being, and we'll trace that onto a new piece of metal and we'll go from there. So we have a spot here, all along here, and then back in here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 big spots we need to cut out. It's quite a bit, pretty much almost the whole wheel lip. So let's start on this bottom one here, or probably should just grind the paint off of all the area first. Don't want to run the risk of hitting the door with the grinder. I'd rather clean a little dust up in the interior than have to paint the door. All right, let's start with cutting this out. Okay, I ground down all the bubbles, and this is where people screw up the most, is they grind those bubbles down and they're like, oh sweet, it was just on the outside, it's not, the metal's not, doesn't have holes in it, it's great, you know. Well, guess what, that rust is coming from the inside out, not from the outside in. So even though you ground that down and it looks great, if you just put some body filler over there and paint that, within a month, 2 months, that'll be blistering back out again. So we're going to cut it out and we're going to look at the back side of it and see if it looks really corroded or not. it is, guys. Proof. See the rust on the back of this metal? It's coming from the inside out, and that's what nobody realizes. And people are like, well, why can't you fix rust on new cars? This is why, right here. You see this? This is the stupid foam that Ford and GM and everybody puts between their stupid layers of metal that just holds salt, water, everything, and it just rots your car away, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. It sucks that they do that, and it, you know, you get to the point where, okay, I'm gonna fix this area here, okay? Well, how long till it starts popping out there? I don't know. Could it do it next month? Sure. Could it do it in 2 years from now? Maybe. Maybe it'll never happen. Maybe it's worse over here because the water settles over here. Maybe it hits up here and runs down, you know? But this stupid foam is what screws everybody's newer cars up. And it sucks that they do that. And that's why I don't usually do rust repair on new cars, because I know that that's back there and I know that it's gonna come back. But, you know, I told him, a buddy of mine, said, it's gonna come back. We'll weld some new metal in there. We'll put some weld through primer on it. We'll put some rust converter on this back here. I'll probably clean it up with a little wire wheel. But it's gonna come back, you know what I mean? And if this spot that I weld in here doesn't come back, it's gonna come back right here, or it's gonna come back right over here at some point. So let me get these other areas cut out, and then I'll come back and we'll clean this up. We'll spray some rust inhibitor, and then we will start cutting some patches out, weld these in. We're gonna use a little bit of short strand fiberglass over top of my welds, because this is very thin metal. Plus I'm dealing with the foam behind it, so it might react a little bit different when I try to weld it because of that foam back there. Hopefully it doesn't, but it might. So we're more than likely gonna have some pinholes in my welds, but that fiberglass, reinforced fiberglass, is going to keep the moisture from coming out of the pinholes behind the paint. Still gonna get moisture back there because this is gonna hold moisture in, but that's where we're at with that. So you can see how badly it has eaten away these areas here. You know, it's just incredible how that foam just ruins these cars. So all right, let me get the rest of these cut out real quick. I'm gonna get a moving blanket to cover that tire. Even though the rim's shot from the salt, I'm still gonna cover the tire up. Okay, let's take a look down here. This whole bottom lip of this quarter panel is completely gone, okay? Nothing left of it. So we're not gonna take this rocker molding off, because if I take this rocker molding off, the likelihood of me getting that back on there is probably slim to none, because there's nothing going to be there to reattach it. But look at this amount of dirt. This is all dirt. Once this dirt gets in your car, that's it, you're done for. This just gets wet, stays wet, holds the moisture in, and it ruins your car. It literally just eats your car away. This foam right here is the culprit for a lot of these problems. If they would make these cars with no foam, they would properly treat the back of this metal and put drain holes in down here, I'll bet you would, cars would last a lot longer. But they don't want your car to last. They want it to rust out because they want you to buy a new car. That's how they're going to make their money. But I mean, look at the amount of dirt in here. I mean, this is ridiculous. There's more dirt in here than I have in my yard. I mean, it's just caked in here. I'll have to take the blowgun and try to get a bunch of it out. So this foam, might as well just try to get this off of here. It's going to end up coming off anyways. Yeah, they put this on here with like a gun, and it gets sprayed in there before they put the two surfaces together. I mean, it's strong shit, but I mean, you can see what it looks like. I don't quite know what that is. It's like a piece of hard plastic. That piece is gonna have to stay in there. So now I need to get a wire wheel and start wire wheeling this just to clean it up so I can put some rust inhibitor on it. Even Even up here, you can see all the foam right here. Look at this. Oh, right through the car. Look at that hole right through the metal on the inside. I'll just take some short strand fiberglass and have to put it in there because, like I said, you can only do so much with this stuff, guys. It's like you're chasing one problem after the next. You know, there's only so much you can do with this stuff. So we'll just put some rust inhibitor on it. I'll have to put a little bit of short strand fiberglass in that hole. You can use panel bonding adhesive as well, but I want to put the short strand fiberglass in there because that's going to keep the moisture from in here. See my finger back there? When it rains, it's going to come right in here. And if I don't fill this hole in, it's going to go right here, even worse, and then it's going to sit in here. And I'm sure that's probably where part of the rain was coming from in the first place. So let me see what I want to use to clean this up with first. I'm going to use my little hamburger disc first. To be totally honest with you, with this stuff, this types of repair, you probably could realistically use short strand fiberglass and fill this in, because if you don't have the equipment to weld it in, I really don't think it's going to make much of a difference because it's going to rot out again on you. I mean, I don't know what would be better. Would the short strand fiberglass last longer, or would the metal? You know what I mean? It's tough to say. How big that hole opened up. All right. Getting some rust converter here. Now this rust converter, as my camera's not even pointing in the right direction, sorry about that, guys. This rust converter I'm using it goes on clear and it turns the rust to black as it cures. Kind of using my Bondo board here to hold this so I don't get it in the door jamb or anything like that. I'm gonna let that set for a few. Okay, while I'm waiting for that to dry, I took my marker, I took this first piece that we had cut out, laid it on this piece of sheet metal, and I'm gonna take my tin snips here, cut it out, and get it ready. I'm gonna make all 3 pieces and then I'll come back. Okay, you can see how this stuff has now turned the rust black. That means it's activated and it's, guess, converting it. So I've got all 3 patches cut out. They're upside down right now. I just sprayed some of this Seymour weld through primer on the back of the metal, and now I'm going to spray this in here on the bare metal, and then we're going to mix up some short strand fiberglass, fill in that hole right there, and then at that point we can start welding these pieces back in. Okay, all the weld through primer's dry. I'll tack on the first piece, or maybe I'll get them all tacked on, then off camera I'll go ahead and weld everything up. I just taped the towel to the bumper cover because I don't want any sparks hitting the bumper cover and damaging the paint. So I just wanted to protect it with something. And it's basically just for that back hole right there, but it should be okay if I wouldn't have covered it, but better be safe than sorry. It's not a big deal to cover it like I did. I'm getting my ground strap out here, my welder turned on. I still have the welder turned down really low from when I did that valance for that Studebaker. I did paint that Studebaker. If you guys have not seen that video, it is painted. There is a video on me painting it. So if you're interested in seeing that, it's done. If you subscribe to his channel, Treetop Garage, you'll be able to see that car finished in a few days here. It'll be all put back together and ready to go. Grab my patch panels here. Get my ground on first. I have to take this blanket off. It's going to want to catch on fire. It might be on fire. All right. Oh, you know what? Forgot to put fiberglass resin in there. I'll have to do it from the back side afterwards. Not a big deal. I can reach back there and put it in at least. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do this to all 3 pieces, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. I'm not going to sit here and video all this. It's just kind of me tack welding one weld after another until I get it all welded up. All right, all these spots are all welded in, ground down, as you can see here. So we're looking good. We're back together. Didn't only took me about a half an hour to do that. Wasn't a real long time. So now let's mix up some short strand fiberglass. Let me set the tripod up. All right, on my messy table here. Just using the Bondo brand Bondo glass. That's all we need to use. Put a nice coat on everything. Let it dry for a while. I like letting this stuff dry for a little while so that it cures nicely. Let me clean off my Bondo spreader. I forgot to clean it yesterday, so it's all I do is I take my DA sander and sand it down. All clean, brand new. I just use some 180 grit. I don't want to use anything rough to score it all up. Where did I put my screwdriver? Where did I put my screwdriver? I can't wait to clean this counter up. It's such a mess right now. I don't know, I lost my screwdriver. I'll use one of these openers. So we don't need a ton of this, but we want to put a good coat on there. Because like I said, we want to fill in any pinholes left from welding. It happens. This is really thin metal. This is like welding pop cans together. So there's gonna be pinholes. It's inevitable. Unless I sit there and grind and re-weld a bunch of times, which in my opinion is not worth it. It's the only way you're gonna get it perfect. Like I said, that probably only took me 20-30 minutes to weld and grind that at best. So it didn't take a long time. You know, if you guys are fixing stuff like this on your own cars and you're good at doing this kind of stuff, it really doesn't take very long to fix this stuff. You know, if you have to take it to a shop, they're going to charge you a lot of money to do these simple fixes that really are not that difficult. But you could probably, like I said, cut the rust out and get away with just using this stuff. I mean, this stuff is pretty wicked. But when you mix this, make sure you fold it over and you don't stir it. Same thing with the body filler, because once you start stirring this stuff, you create air bubbles in it. So let's go ahead and put some of this on. I'm going to have to get behind the panel after I do the front face to get it on back there as well. Oh, I did get the other rocker molding like this one today at the junkyard. I found a car in the weeds and I was able to take it off. It might have a slight bend to it, but it's not bad. I think I could straighten it out if it does. But this is all we're doing here. We're just going to go ahead and fill in over all the welds. Now, unfortunately, the bottom side of this down here is open. There is nothing down there for me to weld to. So nothing I could do about it. Like I said, I'm not getting into disturbing that rocker panel molding, because then that is going to open up another can of worms that I don't want to go down. I don't want to go down that road. So let me get this put on, and then I'll be back in a little bit. We'll knock it down with the sander, and then after that we'll be able to start doing a little bit of icing. Shouldn't take much. It really didn't warp, so it should go to body work pretty quickly. Okay, I'm going to knock this down with some 80 grit with my sander, just my DA sander. Okay, I don't want to take too much off. So I'm gonna get this blown off and then put the first coat of filler on. We're gonna use probably a coat of regular filler first, and then we'll go with the glazing putty afterwards. Okay, I'm mixing up some lightweight body filler. Somebody had asked me, they saw this in the video, this can's now empty, it's garbage. This is Summit Racing brand. This is the lightweight body filler. I like this stuff. It works really good. It's inexpensive. I think it's $30 to $40 a gallon, somewhere in that price range. Don't quote me on that. I had gotten these on sale for like 30 bucks a piece, so I bought 4 of them at the time. They also have another filler too that is a heavier weight filler, and I also do use that sometimes, but it wasn't on sale at the time. And I want to say that's like $60 a gallon, but I have no complaints with this. It works good. Sand's good. It's not super easy to sand, but it's also not real difficult to sand either. It's in the middle, and I like that. I like fillers that are harder to sand. It's more work, but it doesn't shrink back like some of the stuff that sands real easy. A lot of people don't understand that, but it's the truth. I know, I've used them all, and I know what this stuff does as far as shrinking and stuff and seeing sanding marks in your paint job. You know, so that's great that you could sand something real fast and easy, but it's not great in 6 months when your paint job has sanding marks in it because your filler shrank back on you. So get this mixed up, put a coat of this on, let it set up, knock it down with the DA again. Maybe I'll use my inline sander, I'm not sure yet. Probably better off using my inline sander. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this on the car, come back and we'll knock this down. All right, I'm gonna knock this down with some 80 grit on my little file board here. Finish sanding this down. It's looking real good. I am blowing some dust in the car. I'll open up all the doors and blow it out real good with the blow gun. Good thing is this stuff blows out pretty easily out of the interiors. But all this is looking real straight and real good. But it's gonna take me a little bit down there, so I'm gonna do it off camera. Okay, now I'm gonna put the glazing putty on. Just a light coat. It's looking real good. Got a couple little nicks on the edge here we got to fill in. So I'm just gonna do one light coat on all of it. Now, if you don't have a wheel bag on your wheel and you get some body filler on your tire, don't try to wipe it off when it's wet. Let it dry and it just comes right off the tire. But if you wipe it while it's wet, it's all it does is smear into the rubber and it looks like crap. But you see right there, came right off. So just a little trick there. In case you ever get any body filler on a tire, let it dry, flake it right off. I'm gonna go ahead and do this off camera, get this coat of that glazing filler on there, and then let it dry for a little bit. Okay, it's all sanded down, looks good. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of this 1K primer. The reason being is there's a little bit of bare metal showing here and there, so I just wanna put a coat of this on rather than breaking out epoxy primer and having to put that on. This is recommended for directly over bare metal. So then in a little while, I'll come back and I'll hit that with Scotch-Brite pad, rough it up, get the car all taped off, and then we're gonna primer this and the other side with 2K primer, and then the car will sit until tomorrow afternoon. I'll give it a full 24 hours outside in the sun, and then at that point, we can pull the door off, get the inside of the jamb painted, and then the next day put all that back together. Okay, it's been a good hour or so. That primer is definitely dry. I'm gonna hit the quarter panel up to about here right now. So right in about this area. I'm gonna use 320 grit with a foam pad. Okay, see how this is real foamy? It's not gonna dig into the paint. It's just gonna kind of glide over the surface and scuff it up. That's all I'm looking to do here. Not looking to straighten anything out. Just wanna get it a good scuff so that our 2K primer has something to bite to. How quickly that works. So I'm going to go do the same thing on the doors over here and then in the door jamb. Now this back door I got to be careful. I don't want to go much past where I'm already at. I can go past it with the 320. I just don't want to go past it with the primer. That's what I meant to say. I'm not wearing a mask for this. This really isn't kicking up a lot of dust. the Scotch-Brite pad inside the handle pocket, and then I'm going to tape this off, and I'll come back and we're going to spray some 2K primer on this. It's okay that a little bit of the body filler came out. That's fine. There's no bare metal. That's not going to hurt anything. That I'm not going to primer anymore. That's going to stay the way it is for tonight. When I go to sand the whole entire door down and the fender and stuff, then I'll sand that area. So I'm going to do in this door jamb and then get ready to tape this off. I'm not going to do the taping off on camera. Basically going to drape a piece of plastic over the whole car after I blow out the inside of the car and the whole outside off. I'm going to leave this on the wheel here just to protect that, but I'm going to drape plastic over the whole car. This door is going to be open and the driver or the passenger front door is going to be open. I'm going to have to drape the plastic down into the door jamb and tape it all off so that we can spray a little bit of primer. Not going to take long to spray the primer. Really not much area to really primer. So give me a little bit, I'll be back and we'll get this primered, and then we'll wrap up this video, and then tomorrow we'll be taking the door back off and painting the jambs and stuff like that. Okay guys, it's all covered up. It's not the prettiest looking thing, but the interior is covered, so nothing's gonna get inside the car, and the rest of the vehicle that's not getting touched is covered. I use cheap blue painter's tape because I'm not going to touch the tape with the 2K primer. I'm going to stay away from it. I'm not going to spray up that high. Same thing over here. I'm only going to spray out to about here with the primer, so I'm not even going to get over to that. I'm just going to take my time with it. Same thing with this door. It's only coming over to here. So I've already wiped it off, blown it off. I used wax and grease remover. So now we're ready for the 2K primer. I have it mixed up. I put a filter on it for the air because this line out here outside the booth only has this canister water separator, and I don't usually get water, but better be safe than sorry. So I figured I would just put it on there. Not a big deal. I got to figure out this plastic right here real quick because that's going to blow into the wet primer and stick. I just leaned my carpeted block up against there. That's for my door remover and installer that I used for the other side yesterday. That's for older vehicles because they sit up higher and it doesn't jack up high enough. So I took two 2x4s and I screwed them together, and then I wrapped some black carpet around them. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. I'll do the next coat off camera and we'll see what it looks like. I might do 3 coats. We'll just see how it turns out. Okay guys, it's done. I ended up putting 3 coats of primer on it. I untaped it. I can shut the doors tonight. Actually, this one I'm gonna have to wait on because this one has a weather stripping. I'll have to wait a little bit till this cures up a little bit more. I mean, it's touchable, but I don't want it to stick to it. But this looks really good compared to what it was like this morning. I think it turned out real nice. And then on this side, Both of these doors look nice and straight. I didn't shut this one all the way yet. See the jamb, how much better that looks from a couple days ago, where it was all bent up. So that's gonna finish this video, guys. Next is starting to get stuff painted and put back together. Before you know it, it'll look like a car again. And yes, I got overspray on the rocker panel down there. I'm gonna wipe it off with lacquer thinner. If it doesn't take it off, I'll probably just reshoot it. I was on the fence if I was gonna shoot the rocker molding or not. I'm not sure yet. We'll see if it cleans up. Actually, I'll probably just do it now with some lacquer thinner. Let me do that real quick and we'll take a look at it and see if it wipes it off. Because I didn't sand it, so it should come off. Yep, wiped right off. I knew it probably would because it wasn't sanded. This is just a little bit of that'll come off. Just a little bit of residue. But I'm not too worried about painting the whole rocker because this has a molding that clips on here. So basically this whole edge is covered with that chrome molding, which I did get today. Might be a hair bent, but it should be fine. I should be able to fit it, get it on the vehicle just okay. So here it is right here. See, it's got a little bit of a curve to it. So we'll get it on there. Better than what was on there. As you can see, the ones on the ground over here next to the door, how bad it was. So rather than spending $100 or so on a new one, this one was $25. So it was a fourth of the cost. So that'll be good enough. And we're well on the way to getting this car back on the road. And he'll be happy to have his car back and have functional doors and not a big huge caved in area. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Let me know, send me some messages. Let me know if you guys are liking this type of content. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. Not always do old cars, do some other stuff, building stuff like that. Just trying to make it a little bit more interesting. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, guys.